You can see the hexahedron, and you can see that it has points. And what those points do is they have clusters right there that revolve around the points, and that's like an energy grid. The X that's lit up, that's like an energy grid. And because they can control energy and electromagnetic energy, they can make a force field. And they do. They make force fields when they need to. Whenever that hexahedron pops up, that's a form of a force field. And the white part in the middle is in a pure plasma state. The orange and red around it is a partial plasma state. And you see how fast they can turn off the plasma and how fast they can put it back on. They have no problems because they have full control over energy. They can become material or be matter, and they can take any shape and any form. And being intelligent, they can be a person and you wouldn't even know it. So this is the organisms or entities or beings that we're dealing with. It's not something that just fell out of the sky. These things came here, and this was a planned visit, for lack of a better term. But it's a lot more than just a visit, because they don't plan to go back. They came here to stay. So as daylight comes, you'll see more and more organisms coming down to the trees. Now, when daylight does come fully, all those orbs will turn into trees, and the ones that will be up in the air, even in that area, will become invisible because they are transparent. And the other reason is they move too fast. They'll pick up speed and they'll be very hard to see. So this is the best time to see them, around 5 a.m. as dawn breaks. Also, when they, in the evening, when it starts to get dark, just before nightfall, they leave to go up into the sky. And that's also a good time to see them, since that's when they're active and you can see a lot of movement. Otherwise, during the day, they're too fast and there's too much sunlight and they're transparent, so the glare and everything else makes it very hard to see them, and they do their best to stay out of sight. And if they can't stay out of sight, they can just leave the this dimension and pop right out, and then when they want to, they can pop right in. They're only popping out into a parallel dimension, so they're never too far away. But if they desire to, they can go to any other dimension that's not parallel to ours. They use themselves as a medium to teleport to any place they want. They could be on the other side of a galaxy the same way as they come to me, just by teleporting. And they can do that at the speed of light or faster. These things use black holes when they travel, and they use black hole gravity fields, and the energy that's in the black hole from all the matter, like suns and all the other larger stars than our sun, and planets and everything, moons, everything that falls into a black hole. So the black hole is filled with energy, and also there's a lot of gravity, immense gravity. So they use all of that energy and all that gravity to accelerate them beyond the speed of light. And this is how they travel. They travel from one black hole to another to go from galaxy to galaxy, and when they go to another universe, then they use black holes, but in a different way, so that they can penetrate different dimensions and going into another universe. They can also penetrate dimensions to stay in the same universe, but just in a different dimension. So they travel through black holes to do those things, but there's a different process to stay in the same universe and just go to different dimensions in one universe, or if they want to travel to another universe other than ours, and then they have to use a different process, and then they can go to another universe and another dimension in that universe. And they follow laws, they use science, they use math, they use ships, but the ships are living ships. They are only clusters of them. The ships are controlled mentally, telepathically. They don't build metal ships, at least not the Orbs. There are other alien species and races that make real ships that are solid, but these things most of the time spend their time in an energy state, and they are not solid most of the time. They are only solid when they want to be, but most of the time they exist in an energy state. Just gonna back up, see if the top is still there. Yes, it is. You can see the density right now is increasing. There's a whole lot more of them now than there were before. And this is like a shift change. The ones that were on the ground and on trees at night, or in the water, like in the lake over here, Lake Ontario, they go up in the daytime, and the ones that were up all night, they come down and take their places. Traffic is starting to pick up because people are starting to go to work. So basically, it is evident that these are orbs, and that there are clusters of orbs and lots of them. So you can clearly see the movement and the counterclockwise revolutions around the nucleus. There are a few larger clusters that are lit up, and the thing with the orbs now is that they're a lot larger. Just the orbs, even the ones that aren't lit, they're much larger now than they were just a few weeks ago. So they're increasing in their size and in their numbers. Their numbers are growing exponentially, and they're all over. But they're also increasing in size. There are more larger clusters now than just a few weeks ago when I last filmed this particular cluster. So I just want to make sure that I say it again. These are interdimensional entities. They are obviously extraterrestrial if they're interdimensional. I don't know how long they've been on Earth, but in the last 2 years their numbers have skyrocketed. And I've filmed them on the moon back in 2009 when there was one, and I also have filmed them in 2010 and now in 2011 in the moon hologram, since these entities create the moon hologram, and the glow of the moon hologram is made just like that with plasma energy, and they create the glow themselves. The hologram is three-dimensional. They pattern themselves in a cluster that looks large and spherical, like the moon or half moon or quarter moon, whatever is supposed to be the shape for the moon at a particular date and month. And then they create the hologram, and then they glow, creating the glow. And at night it looks almost like our moon used to, but when you get close you only see these orbs and nothing else is solid. There's another thing that there is coming around once in a while. I only captured it maybe half a dozen times, and that's called the moon ship. That's the name I gave it. And this is a object just as large as the moon used to be, and it is full of geometric patterns all over it, and orbs moving all over it along those geometric patterns. It looks like a large circuit board, and orbs moving all along the circuits. So it looks like a huge city, even bigger than a city. It looks like a very active place, billions of orbs on it and all these patterns. And so that I call the moon ship, and that's a solid object, unlike the moon hologram, which is more like the texture of a cloud and has no solid substance to it. So when the daylight comes fully, all those orbs will be on trees or be trees, and the ones that were on the ground will go up into the sky and the air, the atmosphere, and they'll be moving so fast and be next to invisible, because they're transparent and not only moving too fast to see. I just heard my alarm clock go off, so I'm supposed to be getting up. I get up a little earlier just to catch them coming down from the sky. Okay, so this is not any natural light. It's not a reflector. It's not a street light. It's not anything man-made. And it's only about 30-40 feet, I don't know how high, but less than 50 feet off the ground, because the trees are about 50 feet. So it's around 50 feet off the ground. It's right on top of a large clump of trees, and they're about 50 feet high. So it's around 50 feet. I don't know exactly how many feet to the exact foot, but it's around 50 feet, since it's on top of a clump of trees. And that thing's been there for 4 months, many clusters every day. And You can see those ones that will start to glow. They are the active ones, and that's how they teleport. Watch that thing come from all the way there to me, and that's teleportation. They're using themselves as a medium because there's so many of them in the atmosphere. Some of them are small enough that I'm breathing them in right now by the million. So I'm glad it did that so you could see teleportation. It's a projection through a medium, and the medium is more of them. And you can see that the air is just like a sea of them, an ocean of them. The center of that nucleus is pure plasma. The red part is lower state plasma. It's not as hot, but it's plasma also. It's at a lower frequency. The white part that's glowing there very bright is at high frequency. When I'm talking about electromagnetic wave oscillation and vibrations. This makes their harmonics, and if you slow the video down you can hear them. You can't hear them normally, but if you slow the video down you can hear them. The reason you can't hear them normally is because they're at such a high frequency the camera or your ears can't pick them up. But if you slow the video down, then you get the right frequency, and as you slow the video down more and more, once or twice or three times, wherever it sounds the loudest without you playing with the volume, that's the frequency that they're at. I use Windows Movie Maker to make these videos because I like it and I'm used to it, so I usually have to go 2 or 3 times, maybe even 4 times, to get the proper frequency that they're at. And the loudest that they are and the clearest that they are without changing volume settings, that is their proper frequency, and that's the frequency they're operating on. If you go to 5 times slower and 6 times slower with the Windows Movie Maker, you get a pulse. When you get a clear sounding pulse, that is their correct pulse, and you can gauge their communication with either the pulse or by the right frequency at 1, 2, 3, and 4x slower. So 5 and 6 is the pulse, if you want the pulse. It all depends what type of frequency you're interested in yourself and how you want to gauge it. But that's the way to decode some of their communications, by getting the right frequency. Sometimes I hear voices, sometimes I hear chanting, sometimes I hear screaming, sometimes I hear people with one person especially with a very low and strong voice that gives out all kinds of orders, and sounds like he's talking over a loudspeaker. And I hear male and female voices and things like that. So these things communicate, they're intelligent, and they're interdimensional, and they control energy. They can transmute energy from pure energy, which is light, to a material state, and in a between state as well, which is plasma.